And good morning, everyone. I would like to call the meeting of September 3rd to order. I would ask for a roll call.
Mayor Valley,
Here,
Councillor Collins,
Here.
Councillor Florence,
Here.
Councillor Kuyak,
Here.
Councillor Pijah,
Here.
Councillor Rodnick,
Here.
Councillor Sidak.
here.
Present.
I'd like to call the meeting order. I should have said at 9:04 a.m. I'd like to do the land acknowledgement now. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, specifically the Madawaska people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land along with the flora and fauna it supports, the people, their customs and traditions, with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. Ashimigwech, all my relations. I would ask if there's any additions or amendments to the agenda. Seeing none, I'll ask for a mover and seconder for the adoption of the agenda. Collins, seconder by Councillor Sidak.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated for the regular council meeting of September 3rd, 2025.
It's been duly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? See none. I'll call, is it all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Is there anyone that would like to do a disclosure of pecuniary interest today? Seeing none, there are no delegations today. With that, I will ask for an adoption of the minutes of the meeting of July 2nd.
Make the motion.
Oh,
Yeah, and second, that's fine.
it's been duly moved and seconded.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of July 2nd, 2025 as circulated.
Duly moved and seconded and discussion. Seeing none, all in favor. Opposed, it's carried. I'll ask for a mover and seconder for the minutes, to adopt the minutes of the Human Resources meeting. Councillor Collins.
I'll second
Duly moved and seconded.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Human Resources Administration Public Relations Committee meeting of July 17th, 2025 as circulated.
It's been duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Opposed, is carried. And the final minutes, not final, but the last one is the adoption of the Waste Management Committee meeting of July 16th. I move it and second it. Councillor Sidak, Councillor Rodnick.
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Waste Management Committee meeting of July 16th, 2025 as circulated.
And duly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Opposed, it's carried. Thank you very, very much. I will move now to committee staff and our council reports. But we have a committee. The first one is M&L Parks and Recreation Council Florent. Anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so. It was mostly just bringing them up to date. I noticed that some of this information is probably wrong now, but we'll correct that at the next one. I would like to note the email that you got regarding the J.R. Booth Park and the enjoyment by somebody that lived out of province. And I've forwarded that email to the Recreation Committee in Madawaska as well.
Wonderful. Good
I'm gonna
idea.
ask also add it to the information for the next package, just so it's, it's a nice letter and we,
Is there any-
Doesn't happen often.
no.
No, very well written and
Mhm.
from the heart. Thanks.
Unfortunately, people are very quick to complain about everything wrong, but not very quick to say thank you or that's nice or we like that. It's it
Yeah,
happens all the time.
yeah, we-
Just to tie that back to our economic development plan, when they talk about beautification of the areas, it's certainly noted and positive response, whether or not it's in a letter or if you're out and about and people are talking, but it does invite people to stop.
Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, everyone. It was a refreshing to receive.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else, Councillor Flora? No?
No, that's it.
Whitney Recreation, Councillor Kuyak, anything to add there?
We had we didn't meet in August, I don't think, but our next meeting is coming up. We'll be doing a fall festival, October 5th, and we're planning that as we speak. Everybody realizes the need to do some fundraising, so we'll be busy doing that, coming up with some ideas, I guess, for the next year.
Thank you. The waste management report. We brought up.
I can speak to that. I
Okay,
thought
Thank
Stephen
you.
might come in, but so just to kind of get down to the crux of it, we, up until last week, we didn't have any of the businesses locally that were interested in reselling the garbage tags. Late last week, we had a local business reach out and offer to do it here in Whitney. That being said, knowing that we've got the recycling program coming on stream in January, it gives people an opportunity to divert that waste away from the garbage bag, which will reduce the impacts of tag fees to them. So staff are, having had discussion last week, recommending that council delay that program at this time to allow for the implementation of a recycling program, which will, of course, aid our residents in not having to buy quite as many bags down the road.
That makes sense.
okay.
I agree with that. I think that's a good idea.
Any other questions or comments? No,
Makes sense.
I would recommend that, yes, that based on what you've advised, that we defer this at the present time.
And this is a for sure thing, the recycling program, or it's?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be curbside at the same time next year, so it's just, we're just waiting for all of the details. They've tendered it at this point, I believe.
It's gonna be interesting to watch them go down Mackenzie Lake Road in the springtime. I hate them, so.
What's happening with the, do we know? Us as a council, have we got to provide blue boxes or are they going to provide boxes or?
I don't know any other details on how they plan to roll it out at this point. Just that they're looking at rolling it out, so. I know myself, I have to supply my own blue bins.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, but that would be a stumbling block and just nobody will do it. And if we haven't got a facility at the dump either, what are the good people in the township going to be doing? They can't go to the dump with their recycling and they've got to go out and purchase a blue box for it to be collected. That seems a little bit counterproductive to me.
I would think if they put it out in a cardboard box, even it likely would be collected.
Okay, all right, well, that's a first statement. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, working on details, I guess, at this point, yeah.
I wondered if it was a procurement issue or a budget issue that we've got to take on. Okay,
Let's hope not.
yeah, that's what too. Right.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I noticed over the weekend on Madawaska Community Bulletin Board, which is a Facebook site. There was discussion about the tags, and I informed them that at today's meeting, we would be likely deferring the tag system, and I apologize for us not letting the public know before they were actually supposed to use the tags, because yesterday was the first day of collection.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Councillor Floyd. Yeah, it's, staff couldn't put anything on officially until we had council permission to do that. So it'll be put on
Yeah.
pretty quickly and
Ready to
it'll
put it
be,
on as soon as I
it'll
get
be
the okay.
highlighted and so people maybe should
So
be
we
back.
have until, we have until January first then to find vendors for the tags
Mhm.
again.
Or not do it at all. Make that decision sometime between now and January first. Defer it indefinitely. The purpose was to make people recycle.
Mhm.
If we're gonna pick up recycling, there's no more purpose.
Any other
For
comments?
those that, yeah,
And it's unenforceable. There is no way to enforce that.
no, I don't get it.
Take for instance Bennett Road. I think there's like 5 lanes off the end of Bennett Road. Everybody brings their garbage to the end of Bennett Road to be picked up. How would the people collecting the garbage know which person violated the rule of 2 bags?
I have the same problem down in Lake Road. That question's been asked many times.
I think it's unenforceable.
Okay, thank you. Both. Okay, so, it'll be put on Facebook, it'll be put on our website. ASAP, okay? Anything else? Any other staff report, Charlie? No? Okay,
Council,
council side up, go ahead.
I attended the first police service board meeting on August 11th at the Haggerty Richards council chambers, and it was mostly administrative to start with. We took the oath of office, elected a chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, Staff Sergeant Sarah Dara and Inspector Steve Bosa brought forward their presentation. I did bring up our speeding issues in South Algonquin. They do try and get out and set up speed projects throughout the area, but he also suggested that it's called a black cat. It would cost the township probably $3,000 to $4,000, but it's a black box that you'd see the wire go across a highway connected to a telephone pole for hydro. You can move this, but it detects how many vehicles go across, at what time of day, how large the vehicles are, how small from a motorcycle to a transport. And it just reports all this information. Then you would bring that report to the OPP and they would say, oh, okay, we do have a problem at this area. Let's get out more radar enforcement.
Does it record their speed then?
Hmm?
They're crossing over the line?
Yep, it knows how fast. Sounds pretty amazing, but for $3,000 or $4,000.
I think I'd rather see one of those electronic signs
Yeah,
than that, to be quite honest. Because, I mean, we all play the game when we see the sign flashing, we
Right,
all try to
yeah.
pass it at the right speed
yeah.
and get the smiley face. I mean,
Yeah,
Anyway, that was that. We approved the terms of reference, signed code of conduct, discussed the methods of providing information to the public through agendas, township websites, social media. They discussed insurance for the board members, and the board budget was deferred to 2026, and our next meeting is November.
good, thank you. Councillor Collins, Councillor Quia.
I went to the Cross Lake Community AGM at the beginning of, well, it was the long weekend, actually, the civic long weekend, and was very, very well received. I'm very thankful that I was a known face and someone they could reach out to, a face to a name, and they love that part of how the council is set up. And the thoughts of having just falling into a nobody, someone they don't know, someone that hasn't been to their meetings, doesn't understand their situations, was quite horrific to them. So they are very, very happy with me or with a dedicated person for their situation. So I thought that was nice. They didn't bring up anything much other than recycling. And recycling for them, if there is no facility at the local dump, what on earth are they gonna do with their recycling? So I said, well, I believed it would go up to the 523 on that main thorough, main road through. But I would clarify that at a later date.
Okay.
Always good.
Good, thank you. Councillor Quinn, go
I
ahead.
just had a question for Lori in regards to that black cat. Is that something or not something that the OPP should be doing themselves? If they've had complaints, et cetera, about speeds?
I guess if they had a number of public complaints put through the system, then they would have to come out, right?
I'm just wondering, if, like, they're expecting the township to put out
Yeah,
$4,000 to do their job, basically.
My
And-
question to that is like, it's not a township road, so how could the township put an apparatus on
a
a
highway,
highway? And I see those boxes all over the place.
right,
MTO put them up and they could get that information from MTO.
and they can be moved around to township roads.
Oh, okay.
I know, but we're primarily concerned about speeding on Highway 60.
Right.
Um.
I can bring that up again.
And again, that's point taken in regards to that, it's, that's a provincial road, it's nothing to us, so other than the fact that they're speeding. And another point in regards to the speeding and them not wanting to reduce the speed limit. Coming through the park home, you hit a 50 kilometer just past the logging exhibit, right through. So it goes through the gate, the turnoffs to that. But that's like 1, 2, maybe 3 roads that you would have people turning off. Can't understand why it needs to be reduced to 50 there. And yet a busy town section with multiple homes and roads accessing that highway, and it is 60 and they won't reduce it.
Daycare,
So,
the
It doesn't make
bridge.
sense, does it?
no, it does not make any sense.
Laurie, maybe there's something that Tracy or Brian can look into, but the speed thing that's at the police station, I thought they were going to try to get it up and going. Was hopeful for the summer.
It's not working.
I haven't seen anything on it
Nothing,
yet.
there's nothing there. So I think we're supposed to be up and running. So I don't know
Yeah.
what happened.
I
Somebody
think it
asked
was
me
set
about
up in a hurry and they tried to connect it, but it hasn't.
Yeah, maybe we
Hasn't
could look
worked.
into that, because it's sitting there, and people were saying, why is that? I'm sitting there and
Yeah.
there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they aren't going to use it or do it, maybe they should take it away then. Anyway, just, I didn't know whether that would, out of maybe what is discussed.
No, that's
Thank
good.
you. Thanks, Tracy. Okay, any other reports, comments? Anyone like to do? We're a quiet bunch today. Okay. Is there, I'll just, at this point, Emma was very busy. Went quite well, as these things always do. Met with, some ministers, some ADMs, it was the usual in, out, quick, what do you want to say? Give them the information and they're going to look at it type of thing, but you know, part of that is connecting with people and meeting people also. There were a lot of breakfast meetings, a lot of luncheon meetings, and just running from one to the other is busy, but I felt that got a lot done and met some people and did presentations with DSAB and Brian and I didn't really have to see each other too much because we were both going different directions, trying to take on some of the sessions. So I just to give you that information. So with that, is there any business arising from the minutes that anyone would like to ask or share? Okay, seeing none,
I have a few.
oh, sorry.
No, I'm
Councillor
sorry, I don't know whether or not they fall under business arising or unfinished. So I will just start with my list of things, as you guys all know I do.
Okay,
You spoke to the AMO, and I know that, we felt that the delegation for the housing didn't need to be done at that time. And then we looked at, or I suggested maybe last meeting that we look at our data from, DSAB and look at what type of housing and start the process of planning. And then if we do need, land, that be it crown land, that we could then make the delegation. But I really, think we need to start that process. We have the data that was provided to us by DSAB. I think it's, something that as a council or as a subcommittee, we could look at doing. Then, that was the one. The other one was that we had a motion, that we were going to do a 5.2% annual increase over 10 years to meet our financial needs, instead of that 7.7. The question, I guess, is how we're going to mitigate this shortfall. Obviously, it's a fair chunk of money. It's at least 30,000. Is that just going to come out of our reserve? Is it going to mean that we have to look at other means? So again, just my thoughts. And maybe considering that that is coming up, we should be looking at or thinking about how we are going to mitigate that shortfall. As well, we talked about the parking lot at the Bear Mountain Trailhead. And from what I gather through the community, the Saba is reluctant to come forward to ask our help. And I know, Brian, you reached out to her. Have you heard anything more?
I did get a letter, Tracy did. You.
I'd have to look. I don't remember anything coming from.
Okay, yeah, we did get something from Saba and that should have, I will see that that goes to council for our committee meeting. So you've got it. They basically identified that there's issues with the trail and they're concerned that if those issues are the trail aren't addressed, then there's no point in wasting time and effort putting in a trailhead. And that we should undertake a master plan for all of our, for trails so that there's a knowledge of who does what and that we have a set in plan process that may allow for access to funding of some sort to help upkeep the trails.
I'm sorry, but I have to apologize. I do have it here when you were talking about it. It's going for ACDEV.
Okay. So that
Okay,
it was
fair enough.
put
It just
forward
seems
that-
as if they're holding money and funding not to other people of clubs for trail repair. So, and their main thing is that the master trail plan is needed and no money's going out until that's done. So as well, the cenotaph in Madawaska, we were going to try to look at mowing the lawn and upkeeping that. Was that okay or done?
We have in formal
Start
direction.
next year, wasn't it?
We will bring that forward as part of our budget deliberations that will be started very shortly.
Okay. And I think we already talked about the speeding on the highway, but in one of the minutes, you talked about a resolution being sent. Was that sent? Yes. Right. That was my unfinished business.
I received an email yesterday from a person regarding the trails as well too, or, the groups are definitely looking for funding to do trail repairs. I told them that I would respond today after today's council meeting, because we are waiting for our trail master plan. Is this part of the reason why there is no provincial funding, no federal funding, no
The trails.
for the trails? Yes. Because they're at a point right now where near Madawaska, there is such a hole in one of the trails right now, it's impossible. Like even a snowmobile in the wintertime won't be able to pass.
So
So
the groomer won't get through then.
No,
absolutely not. So
and
it's,
it will be shut down.
we are in September. And snowmobiling season usually starts in January, but they prepare in the fall for the trails, right? And if there's no money available, things are not gonna look good.
No,
I have a meeting scheduled tomorrow with Jason Dwyer, the park superintendent, regarding the trail closures that are in the same area as that washout. And I'm going to remind him that if he feels responsible for closing trails, he should be responsible for opening trails as well. So I will be bringing that trail up, because explicitly in his letter says, his email to me says that he's not closing the main trail, that these are secondary trails that he's closing, but he has, if he's going to acknowledge the responsibility, he has to live up to the responsibility, and I think it's Ministry of Natural Resources or Parks Ontario, because I think that area is within the Upyongo River Provincial Park. You know, and if they're responsible for structures like bridges and culverts within the provincial park, it should be their job to fix it.
All I'm saying, is that whatever is going to happen, it's gotta happen soon.
Right.
Because our two villages are gonna suffer the consequences, right, come wintertime.
Unfortunately, it always tends to lean towards the snowmobile clubs having to do the repair, because they know that that is the lifeline, and a lot of people use that beach trail for various other route connections and our two villages. But it's the snowmobile club that normally end up having to do all this. Because without, they can't get the groomers through.
They don't have the funding either.
No, and that doesn't seem quite right.
Seems to be a universal problem
It does.
for anybody. I mean, it's always coming down to that, it's funding.
Yeah.
Where are we gonna get the money from?
and the question is it, you know, is it going to be the township's responsibility to do these trails? And then are we into, you know, liability for doing them? We're going right around in a circle again. When we don't have the money. And if we do one trail, then it's going to say we've got to do all the other trails. And that's where my concern is, how do we do this? How do we manage it? I understand we need recreation here. But I remember just the one trail down here, Council Pijah, you know, when it was washed out and we couldn't go down as a township and do anything. And we didn't go down and do anything. People got together and did something, and then the other trails were the kind of, you depend on volunteer labor.
Yeah, it's not our property.
Yeah,
No, it's not. I think
So-
what I am trying to say, Merrill Valley, is that
Coordinate.
somehow is to speed up the process and make it happen for these people. You understand? Not financially, but just talking to the right people to sort of say, hey,
Yeah,
this has gotta happen,
right,
because if not,
yeah. Like, I don't remember, you know, and I didn't go to every session, but there wasn't anything on funding
Mhm.
trails
Mhm.
per se.
Many years ago, I remember when we owned the resort, the snowmobile club going to every business that benefits from that snowmobile trail and asking, could we put a donation together for trail repair?
Yeah.
And we dug as deep as we could, and pretty much all by one business contributed something to help with that trail. But again, you can't get blood out of a stone.
No, and I appreciate your comments, Councillor Pichon, yes. Something we should, that we haven't got money to do, but we can maybe try to coordinate something, is what you're saying.
So the trail master plan.
Yeah.
Can you inform me with the whole trail master plan, what it entails?
Well, it'll give us an opportunity to talk with the various stakeholders about who does what, when, where, and how. Including the province who owns most of our trails, whether it be M&R parks or otherwise, because they're all old rail beds for the most part that were transferred to the province.
Mm.
So, and it gives us some leverage then with the province, in moving forward in how those things can be managed. To bring in the Ontario Trails Association, bring in, actually, from what I understand, there may be some value in it from Algonquin Fibers perspective in the future. We've also got our other users of the trail, the snowmobile clubs, the ATV clubs, and we can bring everybody hopefully together to come up with how do we move this forward in the future so that we're not where we are today going, okay, it's washed out, who's doing it? And I think that's really where that's got to come from. I mean, we don't have authority to take tax dollars and spend them on provincial property. I mean, the liability is there for us if we do work on them and we don't own them. Maybe it's something, you know, it's easy to say, well, Renfrew County bought the trail from Arnprior to Head Clare and Marai from the railway company. Maybe the province would like to transfer some of the trails to the municipality. Maybe we don't want them, but that's a conversation that I think we could have through a trails master planning session, right?
So this master trail planning, is there some sort of a time frame?
As soon as we find out if we get funding for it. I've got no money in my budget today for it. The budget allocation would be part of our 2026 consideration. And right now, the Rural Ontario fund that's out there to help support the economy in our area will cover 50% of the cost. We've submitted an application. I think the applications have to be in by the 20th or something of September. So they'll be funding, advising of funding sometime after that. So those would become 2026 construction projects for us.
Thanks, Councillor Pichon. Any other comments, questions, reports, or anything you want to bring forward? No one under unfinished business, okay, under the correspondence or action items, they're all dealt with under our motion for council. And your information items are before you. And any other new business anyone would like to?
Yes,
Go ahead, Councillor Ford.
I would like to file a notice of motion. Although we've dodged the bullet on the wind farms, I think that we have a responsibility to affirm that South Algonquin is still an unwilling host. And I think that we maybe should start another 10-year moratorium because our last one has long expired. So I would like to bring a motion to that effect at the October council meeting.
Okay, so you're putting us on notice then.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I am fearful if we say no, not never, because it's infrastructure. Could it be superseded? Could if Infrastructure Ontario turn around and say you have got to have X number of wind farms, or you've got to have a solar farm, what have you, with regards to infrastructure and boosting the hydro? Could they supersede our motion if we go ahead with it? I don't know how powerful that infrastructure ruling could be.
Province can do whatever the province wants to do, but most of the companies that are interested in installing these structures aren't willing to go against the wishes of a township. So the province can still say, no, you can't do that. But
Okay.
Let's see.
we can still reaffirm that we're an unwilling host.
Okay,
assuming that council votes that we are an unwilling host.
so that,
The motion,
yeah,
I spoke with Joe when I saw that he was going to do that, and I said, you know, I really can't stand by that. I mean, I realize it's a motion to, I guess, how do you, whatever, doesn't matter. That I really wanted to hear what the company had to say. And it still stands. I really want to hear what the company has to say. How they came into town, how they disturbed and disrupted the town is put on the company as well as the people that hosted the private meeting. I found that although we could be not willing to have wind turbines here, we haven't also met to see if there was any benefit, what would happen, how it would be laid out, et cetera, et cetera. At the end game, it could still be, you know, sorry, we're an unwilling host, but I still am sitting there going, I wish I could have had some time with that company.
if I could talk to that, the procedurally, Counselor Ford is telling us he's bringing the notice of
Yes.
motion. That's the place where we should be discussing it. He's
Okay.
just putting it on notice. However, at this point in time, Counselor Queer, if we'd have let general committee or do a presentation to this council, this chamber would have been filled outside the door.
Oh, absolutely.
So the temper of the community at this point in time was not, in my view, conducive to having a meeting with this gentleman. The thing that, you know, bothers me is for 2 years now, there's been work behind the scenes going on about this.
Yes,
And as mayor, I was not aware of that.
yes.
So not that I needed to know everything about it, but I think simple courtesy would have been for them to come to this council
Yes,
and seek permission or seek information from us on the issue. So, yes, we could have maybe met with them, but I don't think it would have helped the matter at this situation, at this time. I think in terms of my conversation with the gentleman, I got the sense from him directly that he is not going to approach us again
no,
for wind turbines, so I basically, I was pleased because, as Councilor Pijot has said, I fielded calls too. I couldn't even go to the store. I couldn't go to the post office, about this, so, in retrospect, a meeting wouldn't have helped us at this point in time. It would have just made things even worse in the community.
What's upsetting me is there's information going out there that this council has turned away the facility to have hundreds of dollars every year ploughed back in. That wouldn't have been the case. It wasn't on township land. Where they were planning was on Crown land, and they would have got memorandum of understanding, presumably, but we wouldn't have even got tax dollars from it. The installation would have been done by their folks. Maybe we'd get a little bit of ploughing in the winter to allow access, but this township would not have gained financially from that, as my understanding. But there is information going out around social media basically saying that this council has turned down the facility for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I don't think that's the case. And I think that's false information that's being spread out there.
there's a lot of false information, I think.
One comment from staff. This proposal never came to staff. This proposal did not come to council. The only discussions that they brought forward to staff were related to a Met tower on a piece of property, period, full stop. There are, of course, some tax implications when people build things like that, but they're under a section of the act that's based on their production capacity for hydroelectric, and it's quite a small revenue stream. there are also times where there may be economic benefit agreements negotiated with a municipality. But none of that was on the table. No proposal, formal or informal, was ever presented to staff. They requested that they be permitted to attend council as a delegate and make presentation to council at our 17th of September meeting. We did not even have their presentation package yet. When they met with the local business association and some residents who were invited to that by Saba, they met with them. Their head office had a number of phone calls of people opposed to these. Our office and councillors had a number of phone calls opposed to these. They contacted us and they withdrew their request for delegation. So there's never been a proposal of any sort considered by this council, and I just wanted to make that abundantly clear that even staff have not seen the proposal.
If I can add one last little thing, this council, well, not this specific council, but council and this township has gone through this 17 years ago in 2008. I was on council at the time. I seen the presentation from the people. It was on flip charts all over this room. We had a meeting up at the community hall here at the church. We had a meeting at it was the old community hall in Madawaska at the time. There was very, very, very little positive feedback from the public. There was very little interest. In fact, wind farm at that time was going to be right across the lake from the residences at Macaulay Lake. And some people withdrew their building permits because they planned on building, and then because of the wind farm, they knew their property was going to plummet in value. Like, who wants to have a cottage where the main view out the front is 5 or 6 windmills on the hill? So I have maybe more information than my fellow councillors about wind farms. And I was on council when we passed the motion to be an unwilling host before. And I was on council when it was actually presented by Councillor Shaw to have a 10-year moratorium on the wind farms. So I've been there, done that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so it'll be coming into your October meeting, so all of your questions should be discussed at that time, okay? So we've been given notice that it's going to be coming. Okay, I'm going to move on to motions of council. And I think the motions of council that we have in the package have been brought forward by Council Warrant. So I will go to the first motion. And this is from the municipality of Tweed. I will ask for a mover and seconder.
I'll move it.
Council Florent,
I'll second that one.
Council Collins,
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports the letter from the municipality of Tweed addressing the challenges faced by small rural and northern communities, and that this resolution, together with a copy of the letter, be forwarded to Minister Flack, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Minister Bethlehem Balday, Minister of Finance, Minister Thompson, Minister of Rural Affairs, NPP Billy Deneau, Robin Jones, President of the AMO, and Krista Lowry, President of Roma.
been duly moved and seconded. Been read any discussion on this motion?
I will just remind people, this is regarding the policing costs that have been arising at an exorbitant rate. And one of our very close townships has actually taken the policing costs off of their tax bill and added it as a surtax on the township, so that every individual taxpayer pay for policing. And that specific township, it was $211 and some cents a year per property.
Taxpayer, yeah.
So, and this motion from the municipality of Tweed is asking for some provincial support.
Any other discussion? Thank you, Council Florent. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, carried. Next resolution that we endorse the resolution passed by the municipality of West Nipissing on moratorium on aerial spraying. And that it be extended to include the township of South Algonquin. Council Floyd again,
Yes,
moved. Seconder? Councilor Kwiat?
That council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin endorses the resolution passed by the municipality of West Nipissing, requesting a moratorium on aerial spraying, and further urges that such a moratorium be extended to include the township of South Algonquin, and that this resolution, along with a copy of the West Nipissing's resolution, be forwarded to Mike Harris Jr., Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, Sylvia Jones, Minister of Health, NPP Bill Deneau, Robin Jones, President of AMO, Crystal Lowry, President of Roma, and Bancroft Minden Forestry Office.
It's been duly moved and seconded. Discussion, Councilor Floyd?
I just want to note that there's been a petition circulating online in Renfrew County to stop this as well. And they presented their petition to Cheryl Glant. And I noticed that Cheryl Glant's office is not mentioned here because it's specific to provincial agencies, but maybe we should include sending the motion to Cheryl Glant.
Jesus, okay.
And I think we're, again, because we didn't have a meeting in August, we're a day late and $1 short on this because I think the program's already started.
Okay. Thank you.
Does everybody, so if, would you like to make a friendly amendment to the resolution to add MP Cheryl Glant?
Absolutely. I remember when they did spraying, probably about 15, 18 years ago. I did a lot of research into it and I would not allow them to spray under the hydro lines that ran through the resort because of people obviously in very close vicinity and glycophosphates. Are fine at distance, but not in close proximity for sure.
Councillor Kwiat, you seconded that motion. Are you okay with that amendment?
Yes.
Friendly amendments been approved. Okay, any other discussion on this? I too received a request from one of our residents in South Algonquin about this at the time, and it was right at the time we were dealing with the other issue, and it was interesting because I could get back to her and say, oh, we have a resolution coming to our council meeting, and so she got back to me thanking the township for having this resolution come forward. So it was timely. Okay. Seeing no other discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. The next motion, Council Florent, is to authorize the signing of the draft letter prepared by FNOM on the highway initiatives in Northern Ontario. I need a seconder. Council Pijot, go ahead.
The
Okay.
council of the corporation of the township of South Algonquin authorizes the signing and circulation of a draft letter prepared by FNOM in support of the Nation Building 2+1 Highway Initiative in Northern Ontario.
This has been duly moved and seconded. Discussion, Councilor Florent, and
Okay, somehow these have got moved out of order from the way that they're presented, but
okay, sorry.
that's okay. I'll address this one. The 2+1 highway has been a thing that Phenom has been promoting for years and years and years.
Mhm.
And it's a quick, cheaper solution to double laning. And it's double laning one direction at a time. So it's adding one lane on the shoulder and every, I think, 2 kilometers I heard mentioned, and then it would switch to the other side. So there would be continuing, half of the road would be actually passing lanes. And I noticed last week I was on Highway 17 between Petawawa and Pembroke. And this also includes Renfrew County. They mentioned Renfrew, right down to Renfrew where the 4 laning starts between Renfrew and Empire.
Right,
And most places that shoulder is 15 to 20 feet wide. They could easily pave another lane on there without doing any construction at all. They might run into a little bit of problem when they're covering bridges and that, but it would be very easy for the province to do this.
mhm.
Maybe not in Northern Ontario so much, but in that area, at least, there's lots of room to do it. But it's anybody that drives Highway 17 or Highway 11, you're taking your life in your hands. It's just horrific.
In 69 too, right?
Yeah, 69 is bad, and for some reason, there's a big delay on the last portion of 69 for the 4 laning. I don't know what it is,
It's all about safety.
but, we're part of Phenom, we're part of Northern Ontario, and we could be supporting
Absolutely.
almost everything that comes out of that organization.
It's been duly moved and seconded, and then the discussion is done. So I'm going to call the question, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. The next resolution is, pertaining to Bill C2, specific section 775 to support the resolution of autonomy, South Monaghan. Council Floyd, you're moving it?
Yes.
Any seconder, Council
second.
Kuyak?
That council of the corporation of the township of South Algonquin endorses a resolution passed by the township of Autonomy South Monaghan pertaining to Bill C2, section 77.5. And that this resolution, along with a copy of the Township of Autonomy South Monaghan's resolution, be forwarded to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, the Ontario Municipal Association, the Minister of Finance, Emma Harrison, MP Cheryl Gallant, and the Ontario Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, Council Floyd,
Yes.
you want to say anything?
This is regarding payment by cash and limiting the amount of cash that you can make a payment with. And I think it's part of the overall goal of becoming a cashless society, which makes sure that the government collects tax on every single dollar you spend. I think it's overreach. I'm running into that even with, I'm dealing with a land use permit and with Ontario. And you can no longer pay by personal check, and now this year, you can no longer pay by credit card. You can either do it online or a certified check or a money order. It's just, it's unreal, the reach that the governments at all level are trying to get into our pockets.
Okay, any other discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? It's carried. We just carried the last motion, Sandra. The next motion is with respect to the resolution passed by Township of Narram and Hyman regarding the transportation disposal tailings at the Agnew Lake tailings. Council moved by Councilor Floyd, any seconder, please. Councilor Rodney.
Council of the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin endorses a resolution passed by the Township of Narran and Hyman pertaining to the opposition to the transportation and disposal of niobium tailings in the Agnew Lake tailings management. And that this resolution, along with a copy of the Township of Narran and Hyman's resolution, be forwarded to the Ottawa Dug Board, Premier of Ontario, Stephen Lecce, Ministry of Energy and Mines, Pradneet Singh Zakaria, Minister of Transportation, Todd J. McCarthy, Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, the Ontario Ombudsman, the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, MP Cheryl Gallant, MPP Billy Deneau, and the Association of Ontario Municipalities.
It's been duly moved and seconded. Discussion on this motion?
Again, this is a township in Northern Ontario. I think it's in the Elliott Lake area. There's uranium involved in the tailings. And they're transporting it down the highway with no signage, no approval for the waste disposal site that they're using. It was approved for other tailings, but not for this
No.
specific one. And again, we should be supporting our fellow townships.
Okay, any other discussion on this motion? I see none. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. The next resolution is to endorse the resolution passed by the city of North Bay regarding the Northern Ontario Resource Development Support Pilot Program. Moved by Councilor Floyd. Do I need a seconder?
I'll second that.
Councilor Paul.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin endorses the resolution passed by the City of North Bay pertaining to the Northern Ontario Resource Development Support NORDS pilot program to address municipal infrastructure pressures from natural resource sector activities, and that this resolution, along with a copy of the City of North Bay's resolution, be forwarded to the Minister of Agriculture, Foods, and Agribusiness, Minister of Infrastructure, Minister of Natural Resources, MPP Billy Deneau, and Rural Ontario Municipal Association, ROMA.
Okay.
Again, this is the provincial government, I think, closing off an avenue for resources that we have tapped into in the past, I think, and,
Hay Creek Road,
pardon me?
Hay Creek Road, that's where the
Yeah.
funding came for us to redo that road.
And so it's an excellent program for small communities and northern communities, and I think we should join the petition to have the province continue.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Floyd. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Oh, it's carried. The next resolution is with regard to the boundaries of Pionga River Provincial Park, and I've been Council Floyd. I need a seconder. Councillor Sidoc.
Whereas the Township of South Algonquin recognizes the importance of preserving the natural environment, including the river and shoreline habitat within the boundaries of Piongo River Provincial Park. And whereas the township also acknowledges the historic, recreational, and cultural significance of two long-established motorized trails within the park, one of which has been in contiguous use for over 100 years and another for at least 50 years. And whereas one of the trails in question follows a route historically used by horse and wagon, then by motor vehicles, and currently by all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, and provides access to an area known locally as the 5 Mile, which holds significant local and historical value tied to the era of river log drives. And whereas the proposed closure of these trails to motorized access would adversely impact individuals with limited mobility, including seniors and others who rely on ATVs to access recreational and hunting areas. And whereas the closures are being justified under environmental preservation and policy alignment, despite the park's status as non-operational, and without clear evidence that low impact motorized use has caused significant harm to the integrity of the river and shoreline habitats. And whereas the Township of South Algonquin was not consulted during the planning or decision-making process regarding the proposed closure, nor was public consultation conducted to gather community input. And now therefore be it resolved that Council for the Township of Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin opposes the closure of motorized access to the two established trails within Pionga River Provincial Park and calls for a full public consultation process in which the township is actively involved prior to any final decision being made. And be it further resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin urges the Ontario Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, along with Ontario Parks, to pause any implementation of the proposed closure and to immediately begin meaningful consultation with municipal leaders, local stakeholders, and the broader public. And be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Todd McCarthy, Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, Billy Deneau, MPP, Jason Dwyer, Manager of Operations, Algonquin Provincial Park, and Jennifer Moore, Zone Ecologist, Ontario Park, Algonquin Zone.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. We're doing move to second that, Councillor Floyd, go ahead.
I'm having a meeting with Jason Dwyer tomorrow regarding this. There's a couple of stakeholders from that area that are going to join me in the meeting. I think we also should include sending it to Mike Harris, Ministry of Natural Resources as well. Somehow we missed him in the end there. This is in, both of these are in Dickens Ward. One is a crossing, the one that's referred to, I refer to it as the 5 Mile, because that's what I heard it referred to as my whole life. It was part of Boo's log drives to get his logs eventually to Bark Lake. There's five, I think five, hunt camps that access through that road. There's one that told me that he had 50 acres. I'm not sure if he owns 50 acres up there or if he has a 50-acre land use permit. Another guy told me his family has been in there for 80 years, 4 generations of them now. And access is going to, and that was for those people who were in the area of the old mill crossing, the one that's slated for the 1st of January. In my discussion with Jason Dwyer, he said, well, there's an alternate way to go around there. There is, it's 16 kilometers to go around instead of crossing the river. So if somebody's hunting in that area and they have a watch on each side of the river, it's 16 kilometers to get from one watch to the next. And they're within shouting distance of each other. The other crossing is actually on the Allen River. It's not on the Upiongo River, but it's within the Upiongo River park boundary. And that trail, my understanding is it's closed for a 3-kilometer stretch. The first 3 kilometers from the Allen Lake Road. There is an alternate access on that one too. It's an old logging road that's turned into an ATV trail. It's pretty rough in a few locations. If one of those land use permit holders needs a new fridge or a stove, I think it would be impossible to get it in or out. On the trail that's designated as an alternate trail. And that comes out on the Allen Lake side of the dam. So there's no river crossing involved in that trail.
Anything else, Councillor Fawnin?
I don't know, the motion kind of speaks for itself. And I'm more, as a councillor, I'm more concerned that the consultation process was skipped.
Yeah.
We were ignored. They said that they contacted the stakeholders. They contacted the Allen Lake Cottage Association after the fact and notified them that the trail was closed.
And I think that's how you found out, I found
Yeah.
out, was through the association.
The people that I've talked to with the land use permits up along the Upiongo River there said they were not notified. They knew nothing about it until they seen it in the Cottage Association letter as well. So, you know, and then after my email to him, they sent notification to the township. So after the fact, after I complained about it, they sent the notice. We should have been the first one.
Are these hunt camps leased? Or,
If they're on land use permits, yes, they would be. They would be owned by private families in most cases
They're leased on the Crown line.
and leased from the crown.
Thank you, Councillor Fawnin.
So we'll go back, we're going to include, Mike Harris,
Mike Harris.
Minister, you're okay with that, because you seconded that, Councillor?
That's just a friendly amendment, okay?
Friendly amendment.
That crossing at the old sawmill, you know, if they're. I know there's idiots all over the place and there's people that don't behave properly, but. You know, if they want to get rid of the idiots, maybe close the crossing for July and August. And leave it open the rest of the year because it's locals that use it the rest of the year. I openly admit, I've seen people there that ripping and tearing where they shouldn't be, but it's very shallow. Most places. On that cross, most times in the year, you wouldn't get your rims wet on your ATV to cross there. It's like minimal, like 6 inches of water.
Any other, thanks, Councillor Fawnin, for this. Any other discussion? Anyone wants to add anything about this? Obviously, work has been done on this, quite a bit of work, I would suggest, before, without any of us knowing, that our stakeholders in the area. I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, this just didn't happen overnight. With that, it'll be nice to have this resolution to take with you tomorrow, Councillor Fawnin. Okay, Councillor Collins, go ahead.
I do believe our initial conversation about the owning of the trail, the managing of the trail, the repair of the trail, I think this all ties in. The people involved here do not perceive that our township has got anything to do with the trails.
Right,
The fact is that they are lifelines for our community, for recreation, has got to speak to something. But I don't believe that we're considered stakeholders, if you like, in any of this, because we don't show to them that we have any involvement in the trail system. And I think the two have got to go together here. We've got to show more involvement with the trails that support our township. And I don't know if it's financial or we just make a stamp that we are involved and our businesses are very much reliant on these trails. And I don't know how to go about that, but I think we need to let everybody know that this township is involved in the trail system and it is important to us. And then maybe we'll be included in these discussions before they are fait and play.
In 1985, when these two parks, the Madawaska River Park and the Upayongo River Park, were formed and designated as parks, I was chair of the local roads board committee in Madawaska at the time. I was also on the local services board. And Ethel, I think you may have been mayor of the township of Erie at the time.
Yeah.
And we were assured that there would be no change to the public, that this was just to preserve the river against commercial development or residential development along that river. And, they've since then changed the mandate somehow from 1985 and made them more active parks. They spent considerable money, I think, uselessly creating a turtle bypass on the Madawaska River Provincial Park. And now they're doing trail closures on the Upayongo. I think it's overreach, reaching beyond what they originally said the purpose of the parks were. And they're failing to maintain their infrastructure.
You're wondering what the end game is, right? That's everything I read, and you always wonder, well, what is it that they really truly are trying to do?
yeah. Well, I mean, and not to be disrespectful, but, in 1985, when discussion took place on this, there wasn't any discussions about turtles.
No,
Or anything of the sort about supporting them, or anything like that. I think the other thing that's being missed here is the history of these places, and that's just for some reason not on the agenda here. And that's because there's nobody at the table to talk to it. So you're sitting around the table, you're discussing, well, that's a pretty good idea. Let's go along with them. I think that is it an oversight that this township or any township isn't being recognized at this? I think it might be an oversight, and I think it, up to us to always say that we're here, we're not going away. And you talk about consultation and that with stakeholders, well, it didn't happen, and it's after the fact, so I think that'll be stressed tomorrow by Councillor Thorne.
Ties in with what I was saying, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion, comments? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried unanimously. You might want to add to the resolution.
You're gonna keep us informed.
I'm going to call Brian when we're there.
Okay, that is the conclusion of the resolutions. Also, anyone has one they want to bring emergency wise? If not, I will move to bylaws. First bylaw. I'll actually move a seconder. Bylaw 2025 843. The amended agreement of the integrity commissioner. And a mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Collins.
I'll do them all when.
You want to do them all and then Council Kuyak, sorry. Oh, yeah, I have to do it first time and second time, sorry about that. So the first one will be amendment agreement for the integrity commissioner. The second one, 844, the conditional contribution agreement with Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation. And the third one will be bylaw 845 to confirm the proceedings of council.
So we got Councillor Collins and Councillor Kuya.
Yes,
That bylaw 2025-843, amending agreement for integrity commissioner. Bylaw 2025-844, conditional contribution agreement with Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation. And bylaw 2025-845 to confirm the proceedings of council. Be read a first time and deemed to be read a second time.
it's been moved and seconded. I'll ask for any discussion on any of these bylaws. Councillor Kuya, go ahead, please.
I have one in regards to the Cunningham Swan Integrity Commissioner office. I know there has been questions brought up amongst us as to their yes, their impartiality. Thank you. That was the word. I'm wondering, is this sort of a done deal? I realize that they've been our integrity commissioner office for some time. Is it time we look elsewhere? Are we pleased with their performance?
Two things. One, we've separated most of our other legal matters off to the other firm that we've been dealing with. Secondly, the province is bringing out legislative requirements for ICs as well as for an oversight body.
Yes.
So that's all happening as and is in process. I think we would be remiss to move at this moment. I think once we see what the implications of all of that are, we bring it back and reassess whether or not we want to go back out. I mean, if council has wishes otherwise, I mean, obviously staff will do as we're directed.
It was just a question because this is for a 2-year term, correct? It was just something I felt that we should all be aware of maybe, and there are other options, but I agree with you, if those things are coming down, if most of our other legal issues have been pulled away, then
Yeah, so we've been working on it, and it was a big discussion about, the province changing that. So I think that, I think we should, if we can, just sit tight and see what happens come January or in 2026. Any other discussion or comments on?
Well,
Councillor Lawrence?
I guess I will comment. I am not very happy with some of the findings of our integrity commissioner during this last term of council. It's kind of obvious that anybody's been paying attention. In the one case, in both cases, I think it kind of felt a little bit abandoned by the township and kind of on my own because our lawyer was the integrity commissioner. And it created personal problems for me, I'm sure, but I got the opinion somewhere else, but I don't think it's a good situation to have our township lawyer being our integrity commissioner. Brian assures me that that's changing because of the new legislation coming in. It won't always be like that, so I'm willing to sit back, tentatively sit back and let things go the way they're going.
Yeah.
I would like maybe separately from this, that the township have some lawyer on retainer for advice for counselors that we could reach out to.
I wholeheartedly agree with you there. With regards to the integrity commissioner, when I was going through the issue that was resolved, I said, well, what sort of report do you want me to write? What sort of thing do you want me to? Oh, I can't possibly comment. So I needed some sort of indication. And if it had to, maybe it needs to come from a third party, but I needed some sort of guidance to put the report together that he was looking for. And I managed, but I did feel a little abandoned, and I do sympathise with where Councillor Florent was going with that. I would have liked just someone to say, oh, well, you need to state the date, the facts, etc., etc. It's very simple advice, which I pulled out of my own head, and it was fine. But I did feel a little abandoned at that point.
Thank you. Your comments are both noted. I think it's, we can just put this and see what happens, if this comes down. I think having a lawyer on retainer is a good idea. And I think we can do better in the future in terms of when we get these complaints. I feel very about the same about the ombudsman. I'm prepared for all of the questions that you get, right? And you're kind of like, oh, I didn't think about that, and so I think the two things, the integrity commissioner and the ombudsman's office, somehow for councillors, for mayors, and even for staff, there should be a much better system that you can reach out to. I agree.
Well, we sign on to be a councillor to support our people in our ward and to do the best for the township. But we're not legally trained, and we're not versed in most of us are not versed in this sort of thing. Some of us have people we can turn to ask for advice, but not everybody.
Yeah, well, it's fair to say there's not a lot of sympathy towards us when we get in these fines. So there's like they're saying, you're on your own, you're the leader, you're supposed to be the leader, so I guess figure it out type of thing. It's just not us that's having this problem. It's across the province. I mean, Councillor Florent raised a good issue this morning, look at what's happening in Killu, Highbury, and Richard.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah, it's also, so it is being discussed. People are feeling abandoned, left out. Some people are saying, take these council jobs. I don't want any part of it, which is sad. I think that's a very sad situation when you talk to councillors and mayors that have been involved for years that are saying it's too much, so anyway, I'll just leave it there. So any other discussion on this bylaws? I see none.
Yeah.
Sorry, Councillor.
Sorry,
I'm
I
sorry.
just wanted to talk about the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund.
Go ahead.
This is for the rink resurfacing. And again, with here in Whitney. And I don't know the details. I did sort of cruise it, but I'm sure Brian will let me know about those. And if we approve this, that means that the project is a go, correct?
Yep.
It seemed a colossal amount of money in my view, but I'm not a contractor. I don't know how much material costs and hauling away, etc. But $250,000 to put down just a surface. If you were having a concrete pad laid out for a house or something, it wouldn't cost anywhere near that amount. So I don't know where they've got the money from, or the amount from. And have we put this out to tender?
It's not been out to tender because we didn't have funding. We did get an estimate from a contractor in the business. And that's what the estimate was based on for funding purposes. So now this will have to go out to tender.
Okay.
And we'll get it, and it'll be tendered for construction for the 2026 season.
Okay.
And this is the use of the raise the roof funds through the
Yes.
rec. That is
The
the
20%.
contribution.
20%.
The problem with the tendering process when you have a grant is the person that's tendering the price knows how much money you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's enough one to come in at 150.
It's,
It seemed a colossal amount of money. I mean, I had a very substantial concrete pad poured for one of these concept type metal buildings, and it was a relatively large size. It was nowhere near and it had rebar and it had concrete and this just seemed an awful lot of money for something that isn't going to support a structure. It's not going to have buildings put on top of it. It is purely for recreational use with regards to ice and other things in the summer. It just seemed a lot of money to me.
Well, as the rec committee, liaison person, they're pretty excited about this, particularly because the whole thing around the raise the roof funds. So we have been working on it for a while and happy to see that it is going to happen. And,
So will the rec committee be happy?
yes, very happy
Because there's no
that they
inclusion,
can talk about it.
there's no inclusion there of new boards or
No.
anything else. So
No,
yeah, it just seems an awful lot of money for a bit of concrete.
Special concrete.
What's
The,
special though? But why?
Everything's expensive.
I don't know, the same thing happened to the tennis courts in Barry's Bay.
Barry's Bay, and they had their,
It was pretty expensive considering the size of tennis court.
I think it was, $500,000 for them to resurface their rink, inside rink, right? Is that
Yeah.
right?
That'd be low.
Yes, but they just finished doing that. So I think the whole idea that it is for a rink, is important to convey to the tender, as you put out the tenders.
That's for recreation purposes in a township. Counselor, okay.
I'm hoping that the boards are gonna be part of this process. As for cost wise, concrete finishing can range anywhere from $13 a square foot to $18 a square foot, not including material. So that'll give you an indication roughly of how many square feet that rink is. So it's a costly process, and it's gotta be the remediation of what's there now. It's not like they're gonna put right over top
No,
of
they
it
have to
and
pull
take
it out.
everything out of
They
there.
have to tear it out.
So,
Anyways, pretty exciting that we know that it's coming, and like I said earlier, we also know that we have to do fundraising.
I think celebration of heritage and outdoor links is important. I mean, it's synonymous. I mean, even Tim Hortons have got photographs, of outdoor rinks being played, back in the time. And I think it's important to hang on to that heritage for sure.
But your calculation, Counselor, there's not enough money there to do the job.
square foot to finish.
Yeah.
That's for concrete finishing.
Yeah.
How many square feet is it?
I think it's about 200 by 85.
I'm not sure.
With your figure at 15, I took an average.
$15.
255. So,
Would you take that price then? Okay, any other discussion? I'm saying none, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed, it's carried. I need to move in a seconder to pass these bylaws a third time. So a mover, please. Council Kuyak, Council Rodnick.
Bylaw 2025-843, amending agreement for integrity commissioner. Bylaw 2025-844, conditional contribution agreement with Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation. And bylaw 2025-845, to confirm the proceedings of council be read a third time and passed.
This bylaw has been duly moved and seconded. Any other discussion on it? We've discussed it, so all in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Thank you very, very much. Those are all the bylaws that I have in my agenda for today. Before I move, I want to see if there's any other items that members of council would like to discuss. I don't see any. We do not have
I'll make that motion.
Council Florence, Council Rodnick,
The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin adjourns the regular council meeting of September 3rd, 2025 at 10:30 a.m.
Duly moved and seconded, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, it's carried, we are adjourned. Thank you very, very much, everyone.